Mr. N.V. Subbarao. Thank you so much, sir. He will be presenting on active systems fire detection and protection. Uh, Mr. Rao, sir, is a Chief Executive of Cholamandalam MS Risk Services. He is a certified OHSAS 18001 safety auditor and has more than 34 years of experience, both in government-owned and private insurance industry in India on safety and loss control. He has been actively involved in conducting safety audits for a variety of industries as well as investigations of major fire losses. Sir has experience in conducting risk inspection surveys and consultancy studies in India, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Kuwait, Saudi, Indonesia, Nigeria, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, and Hong Kong. And he has served as a member of several government bodies. Thank you so much, sir. It's our privilege to have you on this discussion board.
So the point that I want to ask every participant is that, yes, we are talking about fire safety issues, but are we sensitized enough? Are we giving the requisite importance? Okay, because this is one issue which I find that in many hospitals, they don't consider as so much important, because it has to do with our way of thinking also. You find that safety is not something which is a topic, which is a selling topic for any of the industries. You can't find car manufacturers only projecting safety. You don't find construction industry talking about earthquake resistant capability of its projects, or no airline ever projects the safety record as to way to attract passengers. Similar way, hospitals also don't say that we are entering the safest hospital and then we can have the repercussion. So in the available time, I will quickly take you through few things which I feel are important, both from our perspective of what is written in the standards and what are our observations of visiting various hospitals. To this date, we would have done fire safety audit of more than 40 to 50 hospitals across India. But considering the size of the country, the number of places we visited are very less. And the issues are plenty. Just to give a sensitization of how the issues is that one of the hospital fires which happened, the newspaper report said that the fire extinguishers were used for 20 minutes. So we started wondering what they did for 20 minutes, because on the right-hand side, you can see the portable extinguishers, the delivery time is the maximum, if you take home, is 40 seconds, which you may not find that inside a hospital. You may find at best a CO2 or a TCP powder kind of extinguisher where maximum delivery time could be 18 to 20 seconds. But these people have said that they fought the fire for 20 minutes using extinguishers. So bringing that many extinguishers, no. So the reasons could be that most of the places we find that the seal is not broken, they're kept because they need to be kept. And sometimes the traveling distance is so much. And the third point, which is very important, is that they don't know how to operate, because we don't get trained. Even if we get trained, we don't get a chance to handle something which is live in nature. So generally what we have seen is that some of the accidents which we have chance to investigate and which we are collecting data, the first fundamental thing we find is that they're not prepared for emergencies. The scenario planning is not there. Trained firefighters, mostly it is left to the security. The first responders are not having adequate exposure. When I say this, it's not just typical to hospitals, but any high-rise buildings and any places we have this issue. Then emergency response team, ERTs, yes, in some places now we are finding, but then again, their training is the issue. Mock drills, fire detection alarm system in the hospitals where we did audit or where we surveyed, close to 50–60% the detection alarm system is not in state of operation. I have to share this experience. Recently, I was in one hospital to support one of the close family relatives. I found that I did inquire with the people who came in contact, and I'm surprised to see that their awareness is very low, to the extent that all the sprinklers, I found that the caps are still there, smoke detector caps are there, and people are not aware that it's not been removed and they cannot be really used. So the awareness on fire protection system, what is in the hospital, is also not fully visible to the common persons. The other thing is passive fire protection is already dealt. So that I think compared to active fire protection, passive fire protections are even less in hospital. And then of course, emergency communication system in case. So basically we find that even though there are plenty of regulations which are going to see now, the awareness about how do we deal with fire safety is still missing. So you have a lot of speakers before me have spoken about National Building Code, National Fire Protection Association, and NDMA guides and all other things. Yeah, now in India, we can very authoritatively say that many facets of the hazards associated with hospital fires are well covered by the regulation. The only step that is missing is that creating the awareness at the design stage and adequate questioning at the design stage, whether these things are met. If they are not met, what are the alternative protection layers we have created so that, we don't compromise on this. Then, not only installing, the necessity to maintain is also very much essential. A quick comparison, earlier we used to have NBC 2005 and now we have 2016. If you see the classification, some good things have been done. Classification remains the same, exit requirements remains the same, but compartmentation, I think the previous speaker has shown you the compartmentation requirements. Now the compartment requirements are very clear. So the fire protection systems also can be designed. The other thing is that, which is very important, which has been introduced in 2016 is the smoke control part of it. It's not elaborated in the previous standard. Now it has been elaborated. They talked about the access corridors, indoor patient departments. All these things are also been well this thing, and also the ventilation systems that are required. Rating of those ventilation systems, and then all those things are clearly specified. So that means there is no need for taking any chance, or there is no need for interpretation. The guidelines are crystal clear with respect to the smoke extraction part of it. The other thing, interesting thing, of course, the gas supply is also covered. Now they have given what kind of detection system that you need to have in the gas bank area. So that kind of things are also have come in the new nozzles. And the ventilation requirements are also specified. Apart from that, the fire rated door requirements are clearly specified in the new code. Earlier code, it was not clear whether operation theater should have kind of thing. But in the new codes, it is very clear that operation theater, delivery rooms, intensive care units, recovery rooms, all these things are specified that you need to have a 2-hour fire rating system. So the key elements is that at the time of design, this standard should come into place, and there are various checks and balances. There is something called, which the hospitals can think of introducing before they start up their operations, is what is called PSSR, pre-startup safety review. This is as a concept. If hospitals do this, then they know that how much the design consideration have taken into consideration the fire safety aspects, and how far the designer, the architect, and others have met. What are the gaps? Are there anything can be done before we start the full-time operations? Then to maintain the systems, you need to have the preventive maintenance and the permit systems, the periodical drills, and in case of an emergency, MOUs with the neighboring hospital, so that you are fully prepared. I'm not covering the electrical part of it, which is a very, very important thing, because as per the newspaper reports, most of the accidents are because of electrical circuits, but it's a separate topic by itself. But I want to assure all the participants, the new National Electric Code, which is there in India, has a couple of chapters exclusively for hospital. There, everything is well defined. Only thing is you need to ask. So if you look at it, basically the NBC is defining the categories, and it's saying the heights less than 50 meters, then plot areas up to 1,000 meters square, above 1,000 meters square, and categories which are 15 meters and above. So there is no ambiguity as far as the definitions are concerned. So few things that have been specified in the standards I will quickly go through. The extinguishers, the hose reeds, wet risers, the yard hydrants, sprinkler systems, detection alarm systems, underground static water storage. So the 10 or 11 specifications and the pump requirements are clearly specified in the new standards. So this is for the various things. So I put it here so that, to bring to the notice of the participants that there is no ambiguity anymore on whether we require or we don't require. If we require, what is required is purely specified. There are few things which are also being talked about. I thought we should bring it to the notice of the participants about the international guidelines also. You can see here in the fire detection and fire alarm, these are specified, extinguishers and hydrant system. And the only important thing I find here is the automatic suppression systems. In some places, you may require suppression systems, especially in the kitchen area and the record rooms and the server rooms, because as we have more digital systems in the hospital, it is essential that we keep the server rooms and other important rooms fully protected with active fire protection systems. So the suppression systems are suggested. Then structural resistance is specified, compartmentation we also specified. Then the MRI mission things are also specified. Then the other things which I thought I should take you through some of the audit observations is on the extinguishers, which all of you know, training is one, and they are not provided in adequate quantity. In some of the hospitals, we saw that they are provided in very low number. This is a minimum thing that need to be done. And use of wrong extinguishers is also something is there. Then apart from that, the other audit observations we are finding is that a lot of times the unattended faults. So people are not going into the detail. It's not just the installation. We should see that it's in working condition, why the false alarms are coming. The other important point is that a lot of places, the AHUs are not integrated with the detection system. What I'm trying to say is that in case there is a smoke detector comes into picture, you can have a voting system, but then immediately the HVAC system should stop so that this smoke doesn't spread from one area to the other. Then the areas that are not covered, there are a number of areas which are not covered. And the power supply is also something which we find that is an issue in some places. And most of the places we find that the things are in manual mode or they are in off position. So these unsprinkled areas are more than the sprinkled areas. So these are some of the photographs. So in short, what I would like to say is that betterment of fire safety can happen if a lot of things are taken at the design stage. And whatever we have, if we can maintain, that is the best thing. So I'll just close my presentation with one short thing. See, this is how we are seeing the problem. Okay, I'm not having a live audience, so I can't ask a question. I hope most of you are guessing this as a snake, but actually fire safety issue is something like this. So our response, according to me, is thinking that it is a snake, but from behind the scenes, something else is coming and we are not able to stop it. So this is all what I have. I hope it's of some use to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Privileged to have you in this webinar.